Yeah, I've done it.
Hi, everyone. This is your favorite film critic and podcaster, Jay or Jaylan Salah, as you formerly know her. Today, I'm starting a series of branching out and talking to some of our podcaster and cinephile friends. Here we are in this community trying to reach out and connect with each other, know stories about each other. And I'm starting the series with a new discovery, someone I discovered recently, a new podcaster. Um, from our community that has been emerging lately, and I'm really grateful for that, Jesse Blount or Scooby. Okay, so Jesse Blount, or Scooby as everyone knows him, is the host of the Undiscovered Entrepreneur Get Across the Startline podcast. He has been a podcaster for 3 years, over 3 years, with a background in sales and marketing. But Jesse's story is just so, or Scooby's story is so exciting, and I can't wait to dive into that. However, first of all, how are you doing today, Scooby?
Bro, I'm doing fantastic, Jillian. Thank you so much for having me on podcast. That's kind of part of my branding, so I always start off with that. But yeah, it's great. Day has been fantastic, and it's a podcasting day for me, so you know it's going to be good.
Awesome. First of all, why Scoob and why Scooby?
Well, I have the Scooby Doo voice and laugh. That's a given. I've been actually doing that for over 30 years now. It's been kind of a part of me, and it's kind of like how I separate myself from most of the podcasters because I have this innate capability of laughing like Scooby Doo. So I just keep it a part of me. Now, my name is Scoob. The people that follow me or are around me, I call Scoob believers because we all believe in me, I hope. And it's fantastic. I just love it.
Okay, I read your bio and I was amazed by the idea that you started a business during the pandemic. So I want to know why. Like, why would someone start a business during the pandemic when actually businesses were closing or shutting down or running out of money?
My wife asked me the exact same question in the exact same way. Uh, yeah. So my thought process was, well, at the time when I wanted to start this business, I had no money, no equipment. I didn't even have a computer. I had absolutely nothing. So I thought, by the time I have all this stuff put together and ready to go, I'll be one of the first people to get back into the swing of things once the pandemic was over. Little did I know it was going to be 3 years worth of pandemic. So, it didn't quite work out the way I'd hoped. But the thing that really kind of stuck out for me is I really started something. I didn't just wait for the pandemic to be over. I got across the start line and I started writing down goals. I started brainstorming, coming up with ideas on how to run my business, what my first song would be when I first started. It all was going on in my head, and I had this mental picture of what it would be like to have my own business and my own karaoke business and being able to mix my own music and do all this great thing. So that kind of started my journey into what I was doing. One of the main things was I started a GoFundMe page because like I said, I have no money, no nothing. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'll just go open a GoFundMe page and people will just give me money. That obviously didn't work out. I think I only made a couple $100 in a couple months, and that was my mom, giving me a couple dollars to make me feel good.
And a
So,
similar experience.
right, right.
My cousins
So,
were the ones who donated. They felt bad for me, so they just kept donating. I was like, okay, guys, I'm closing it, stop.
so in doing that and kind of having that kind of innate failure, instead of throwing my hands up in the air and saying, "Hey, this wasn't meant for me. The cards aren't just it's just not for me." Instead, I did research why it didn't work for me. How come I failed at this? Why did this crowdfund not work for me? So I started diving deep into how to run a crowdfund properly. And in that, I learned about podcasting and I learned about how you get followers for your podcast, get your word out there, and then run the GoFundMe. I was like, okay, I could podcast. I think I could do this. So in that moment when I first had my very first interview, I was like, this is the place for me. This is where I want to be. So I put the karaoke thing aside. I still want to do it. It's still going to happen. But this whole podcast thing just kind of took over for me, and I loved it so much that I just kept going with it. And now we're Over almost 4 years in now, we're 220 episodes in and just loving every second of it.
What I want to know is what is your interest in talking to other entrepreneurs? Because, like, for me, I love talking to other cinephiles and film critics because there are points and things that I want to tackle in this particular subset or subcategory of humans. So I want to know your interest in other entrepreneurs, especially new entrepreneurs or emerging entrepreneurs.
Well, at that particular moment, when I was like, who am I going to talk to? Well, I'm a brand new entrepreneur. Why don't I just talk to other new entrepreneurs that are just getting started? Because it gives me an excuse to learn from other people that are in the same boat as me, per se. So at first, it was like, okay, I'm learning these things. I'm learning these things. And over the last 3 years and everything that I've learned, I realized there was four main things that stop entrepreneurs from getting started. The four, what I call now the four hurdles of stop. And the four hurdles to stop are imposter syndrome, perfectionism, failure, and fear. These are the four things that came up over and over and over again when I was asking my questions of the new entrepreneur. So now, not only am I talking to new entrepreneurs, but now I'm helping them overcome these four hurdles of stop and have them continue on, whether it's just getting started or if they're stuck maybe in a project or something like that, and they're feeling maybe some imposter syndrome, like who am I going to be to do this, or everybody else is better than me, why am I doing it, things like that. I kind of talk them through it, and then anybody that's listening to the podcast that's experiencing these same feelings and same emotions will now have tools and tricks to be able to get over their hurdle of stop, whatever it might be, of one of the four hurdles. So I have now kind of fine-tuned my podcast for those four specific spots.
Hey, from your point of view, Scoop, what do you think are the challenges that face new entrepreneurs today, other than, like the four core things that you mentioned in a shifting economy, in the age of uncertainty, whether on a digital level or on an economic level, even on a political and global level? What are the hurdles or the challenges?
The current hurdles right now that I've come across more than anything else, people think they have to have a large sum of money to be able to start anything. And as long as you know what you want to do in your heart, just start with what you got, work with what you got. And I started with zero money. I had no money, but I was able to put together a podcast. Trust me, it didn't start looking like this. This is recent, okay? My backdrop was a white wall with my logo stuck on the back of it, and the microphone I was using was given to me 7 years ago. So it's an old microphone, and the laptop I rented basically. So it's like, even if you have just the big, I mean, podcasting now, to get into it, the the level of entry is so low. If you have a phone and a set of earphones with a microphone on, you could start a podcast. That's the barrier of entry. So don't let these flashy lights or anything scare you from starting anything. You can bootstrap anything you want to, and things just start happening because you make them happen. It's almost an automatic, because you're actually looking for these things. Now you train your brain to look for situations where you can learn something or earn something, and it automatically happens. If you're not out there actually looking for it, it's not going to happen because your brain's not looking for it. So don't let money be the thing that stops you. A time is another big thing that stops a lot of entrepreneurs. I don't have the time to put this together. I don't have time to insert whatever it is here that you're trying to accomplish. Let me tell you something about time. I work two full-time jobs on top of entrepreneur coaching, on top of editing for my podcast, editing for another podcast, and I run two podcast networks. So there is time for you to do things if you set yourself priorities, if you set yourself the goals, if you set yourself the boundaries that you need to put for yourself. Even if it's only for 15 or 20 minutes a day, you're making movements forward. So there's 24 hours a day. If you can't spend 15 minutes to put something together for yourself and a business, even though it's going to take longer, 15 minutes is a whole lot of time, but at least you're making progress forward. So don't let time be the issue to stop you too. So opportunities that I've crossed.
Okay. There's also another thing that I liked about your journey, the idea of a GoFundMe. Now, when you look back in retrospective, do you think it actually helps? Because I had a similar experience, but before I had a podcast, I made a GoFundMe because I thought, wow, I'm a writer, I have readers, the readers will, donate to me, but it didn't work out. And yes, it was mostly just my closest relatives and stuff like that. I wanted to fund my next book based on, like donations and stuff like that. So I closed the GoFundMe page because I didn't get the target. So what I wanted to know is, what do you advise other people who, like us, were starting and used the GoFundMe route wrong?
Don't just open the GoFundMe page and just hope it works. You have to be able to plan out what's going to happen because a lot of times in GoFundMe pages, what people will expect is something in return. So, like, if give me $5 and I'll send you a button or something like that. You just don't open a GoFundMe page and expect people to just start bringing in money. You have to build it out in your head first. So the first step in starting a GoFundMe page is not a first step is to research, learn how to open a GoFundMe page correctly, check how to work the funnels to get people to donate, and then open the GoFundMe page. Title the GoFundMe page first, then off that even. If this is the title of my GoFundMe page, how am I going to incorporate that into what people are actually going to be doing to donate? Because people are going to want to know what they're donating about, what it's towards, what it's to, and that kind of thing first. They got to understand what they're doing. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. And I mean, I'm a pretty giving guy. I'll give you $5, $10 if I can do it. Yeah, absolutely. But not everybody's like that. So they're going to want to know why they're doing it. Why should I give you this money? If you can figure out your why and why you should be able to do that kind of thing, they're more likely to put that together for you. Have different tiers. Set up different tiers: a $1 tier, $5 tier, red tier, blue tier, gold tier, platinum tier. What are these people going to get for in those tiers? And then kind of build that out. And then also know who is going to donate to you. You got to kind of have an idea of who your quote unquote customer is going to be. Have an avatar set up for yourself so you know who you are to actually build that for that person. Is it going to be the 40-year-old lady who needs to know how to knit? Is it going to be the guy that needs to know how to fish? Build that avatar for yourself first so you know who you're actually talking to. You can't talk to everybody because if you're going to talk to everybody, you're going to end up talking to nobody. So those would be my first steps and any kind of crowdfunding, even if it's Indiegogo or whatever it is. You got to have those first few steps built out first before actually opening the GoFundMe.
You must have had some interesting guests on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur Get Across the Start Line podcast. I want to know your most interesting experience or something that surprised you or was out of the ordinary for you or kind of like made you in awe or inspired.
So there's been some guests, so I got to tell you that I didn't even think I would get a hold of to begin with. One of my favorite guests was from episode 7. His name was Dragos. He was a family beekeeper, and he is a fifth generation beekeeper who actually inherited his beekeeping company from his parents. And he started from that, but now he's branched off not just into beekeeping, but a lot of other things. I did a follow up with him not too long ago. I also a hypnotherapist. Robert was amazing. This guy he had an amazing presence with him, and his knowledge was fantastic. My very first episode was with a professional organizer, which I didn't even know was a thing until I started talking to her, realizing what a professional organizer did. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get that. So I've talked to people all around the world. I've talked to people in the UK. I've talked to people in India. I've talked to people in Pakistan, all over the world, all different types of entrepreneurs with different ideas. I talked to a 15-year-old kid who did at the time NFTs, but he actually does now public speaking for other kids to get them kind of kind of do motivational speaking for other kids, saying, "Hey, I was able to do this. You can do this too," kind of thing. KJ was amazing. He's in there too. So I like being able to get not just, bookkeepers or just the normal things, even though I do have the normal things. But every once in a while, I come across somebody that's like, oh, I got to get this person because this is so amazing.
Okay, because I get this too. I mean, through my podcast, through interviewing people, you get to meet people from different parts of the world, places probably you might never go to anytime. So I want to ask you, because this is something personal to me, how do you think it enriches your character and makes you more empathetic and understanding, like a global citizen of sorts, to meet people from all over the world and talk to them about their processes and their lives and their ways of thinking?
It's so interesting to me that I come from a time where the person across the street was basically the only person that you talked to. And with the advent of computers and the internet and thing, I've watched all of this stuff happen, and now I'm talking to people all over the world. Being able to explore their cultures and their meanings and how they perceive the world from their side of the world is just awe-inspiring. To be able to travel, if you could figure out the time differences, uh, um, to see what it's like on their side of the world is just, it makes me feel a bit small but big at the same time. I'm just this little speck on this world, but even though I'm this little speck, I'm able to reach out and touch all these fantastic people from all walks of life, all ages, from 15 to 90. I mean, it's just amazing. And to have that different type of thought process because of where they live, and understand what they're thinking because of the culture that they live in, it's very enlightening to be able to do that.
I was going to ask you, do you have like you have 15-year-old. So what was the oldest person you talked to? Like what is your age range?
I think, if I remember right, now this is going to blow your mind, but I think he was 75, but he was working with AI. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name, but it's
Whoa.
amazing to me that even though these people are in a whole different age bracket, they found their zone of genius to be whatever it is. You know, this for this person it was AI. For KJ, the 15-year-old, it was NFTs because he was a young artist, and he was able to do that. Um, it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. Don't let the number of your age be the thing that stops you from doing whatever. I'm too old to learn. No, you're not. This guy's doing AI. Come on, if this 75-year-old guy can do AI, and heck, if I could even pull this off, if I'm not technically savvy. I really am. I'm very technically not all there. But if I could pull off a semi-successful podcast with what I got here, anybody can do it. So don't let age be a thing that stops you.
Okay, so I'm going to take you away from entrepreneurship and ask you about music because the first business that you wanted to open was DJing. What is your relationship to music and what do you find in music? What is your taste? What are your favorite bands, or musicians? Tell me all about it.
Oh boy. Okay. So, I'm into electronic dance music, or EDM. And ever since I was a little one, I loved listening to the different sounds and just the different tones and things like that, and able to put that all together into what would be considered music. The other thing I like to do is hearing two different types of music mushed together into one type of music, and like creating a whole different sound. I love doing that. So I've always wanted to be able to do that for myself and create my own music and create my own songs and that kind of thing. The DJ thing, so the karaoke thing, on the other hand, I just started going to karaoke one time, and I was hooked for the rest of my life. And I don't have to drink anything. I don't have to be, I sounded terrible when I first started. I didn't care. I just had a blast being up on stage and just singing Weird Al Yankovic songs, old 80s songs, songs from my time, I guess you can say, if I haven't aged myself already. Uh, but and then as time went on, I realized I did have a singing voice. I just had to find it. And then that my singing voice, for some reason, at the same time became an announcing voice. So people started to wonder if I was an MC for anything or if I had a radio voice. I don't know. I was like, I didn't even know I had a radio voice until people started telling me I did. So that kind of helped me with the whole podcasting thing, or whatever. But my relationship with music um, has been shaped by all types of different genres. But Weird Al Yankovic was definitely one of my biggest guys. So anything from Weird Al Yankovic, I got most of his stuff memorized, and I love singing it. So EDM music, Marshmello, I like Skrillex. Yeah,
I love Marshmallow.
um,
Yeah,
Marshmello is awesome. I love that guy.
adore him.
And I just Dead Mouse was a huge inspiration for me. Love Dead Mouse. Um, but all of that were people that I listened to and enjoyed so much that I wanted to start making my own brand of music, which I have actually kind of have a little bit. If you look at my YouTube channel, I have a couple songs that I put out thanks to the new AI generations of music. I was able to mix, thank you. I was able to mix my own music and come up with something that I call IEDM, which is inspirational electronic dance music, where the song itself also is inspirational, but also always features a speaker somewhere inside the song saying something very inspirational. So that's kind of my own deal.
Wow. Okay, so our group, like, this is awesome. It blew my mind, honestly. I wasn't expecting it.
Most people don't know about me. They don't think, this weird guy that talks like Scooby Doo comes up with all this weird intro.
But I feel like
So
this is the beauty of humanity. I feel like this is the beauty of humanity. This is why it's really important to dig deep and to know people and to know, I think, go beyond the superficiality of knowing a person, because you might discover things that you would never expect or understand. So I love doing that with you, and I love knowing that about you, like the layers of Scoob, let's get down to the bottom layer now. So our amazing group, Underground Podcast Promotions Group, we have a lot of cinephiles, a lot of film lovers, a lot of people who podcast about movies nonstop. So I have to take you into my territory, the place where I reign, movies. What do they mean to you? Because you told me you like bad movies, and I was like, okay, what an introduction. Oh my God. Okay, this is awesome. And I need to question him about that. But what is your relationship to movies in general? Is it something that you enjoy and you seek in quantities, or is it just something that is fleeting?
So I'm definitely a movie nerd when it comes to sci-fi and that kind of thing, especially growing up in the 80s where you saw a lot of transitions from uh, practical effects to digital effects. So watching that whole thing progress has been absolutely fantastic for me. Watching Star Wars, like when the original Star Wars came, my first Star Wars movie was Empire Strikes Back. This is the first one I remember. And watching that grow to what we see today, which is an entire huge franchise with so many different makes and models and different types of Star Warses and where it went and where it's going and where it came from. It's been an absolute dream to be able to see that. Also, I've been into Lord of the Rings a lot lately, especially since the movies came out. I've been kind of watching that a little bit further on. Actually read all the books, including the Silmarillion, and learned a lot about the lore. I hope I can remember any of it, but it's fun to listen to. But the one thing, and this is just me being weird, but that's the way I like it. The one thing that's always stood out to me is watching really bad movies. Something about that is just, it's so bad that it's funny to me. I mean, some of my favorite movies include Manos, the Hands of Fate, which is the worst movie ever made, still to this day. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, that was one of my favorite ones too. I watched both of those for the first time on Mystery Science Theater 3000. I now own both of those movies on DVD. Those were gifts for my kids because they know how much I love movies. Um, there's a couple of movies that you find on what Pluto TV or whatever, one of those weird
Or
TV ones. I
Tubi or
saw
something.
Space Trucker, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Tubi, that's what it was. Tubi, yeah. Space Trucker. Look up Space Trucker sometime. You'll actually see some very high end actors in these really really bad movies. Um, I'm a huge original Mario Brothers movie fan. Just because I love the story of it, even though it's probably one of the worst movies ever made. I think it's one of the best because that's just how I am. And if you ever get a chance to watch the movie UHF from Weird Al Yankovic, uh, back from in '85, you're in for a treat.
Feel like Weird Al Yankovic has a big influence on your entire life. Like I feel like he's there, kind of like your sensei in a way. And I love that very much. What is the pleasure that you find in a bad movie? Like, what is that process for you? Like, what do you find? Because for me, sometimes I like silly movies. Sometimes I call movies mindless entertainment. And I remember one of my cinephile friends was like, "No, don't call a movie mindless." I was like, "Yes, but it's mindless. It's brainless. It's so stupid." But I like it. I just love even the flaws, even the absurdity of it all. So I want to know your philosophy on the bad movie effect on you.
Wow, there's a whole philosophy to it. Okay, let me see if I can make one up for you here. So, I guess it's just the fact that something could be so bad it can be good. And now that you're making me kind of think about it a little bit, we look at things that we do in our lives that are they're hard, but they would do bad things. Things come up, things don't go the way that we want them to, but we still move on. We still finish the movie. We still finish what we're doing, even though we could look back at it and go, "Why did I do that?" And it's
Sometimes it's even a relationship or a
but we could go
friendship.
look right. It could be anything in life, but to look at it after it's all over and done with, and look at it outside and being able to laugh at yourself after making that mistake and learning from it instead of it just like ruining your life, which is kind of crazy. I think that's the same thing why I like bad movies, because I like watching from the outside how bad this horribly is, or how wrong this movie went, but it's still finished, and it's still sometimes had a plot, sometimes didn't, sometimes it had plot holes that you couldn't dig with a shovel-less stick, but it was just fun to watch. And I don't know, it's just always been a part of me. I've always been the silly kid. When growing up, I was always the silly one. My brother is like the polar opposite of me. He's the serious one. But it's just been part of my life so much, and it's taught me so much to be able to be silly, because being silly is a lot more fun.
Being silly is a lot more fun. I totally agree with that one. 100%. Okay, recommend three bad movies to the people who will watch our podcast, our fans, our dear friends, and three like great movies, even if they're from, like sci-fi franchises and stuff, but just three bad movies that you think people should watch, and three great movies that you personally find fantastic.
So I've already named two, and I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to rename them again just because I can. Monos, The Hands of Fate. If you could find it anywhere, worst movie ever made. Try if you can get through that movie, you can get through anything. Okay. Um, then Santa Claus. My brain stopped. I'm so sorry. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is definitely awesome. Both of those are in hands monos as a whole. You could find them anywhere. You could pretty much find them anywhere. Oh, a third one. I don't know if it's still out or not, but you might be able to find it. There was a movie called Rubber on Netflix. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. But basically, the whole storyline is about a tire that comes to life and kills people.
Even better than Killer Tomatoes because I loved that one when I was a kid.
Oh, I love
I love it so
Killer
much.
Tomatoes is fantastic. Yes.
And I was very scared when I was a kid that it would kill my mom. I would tell her like, "Stop, do
Stay
that.
away from the tomatoes, Mom.
Mom, don't, because I was like a kid and I'm always like impulsive and kind of like into the movie, kind of losing myself. So I watched it very young and I was scared, but I also loved it. So yeah, the rubber could be a great addition to that. So it's a
Yes,
great
I would
movie.
check it out. So three good movies. I'm going to actually call UHF a good movie, even though it's probably not and by most standards, but it will definitely make you laugh. It's a fantastic movie. Weird Al is fantastic in it. The storyline's amazing. Um, gosh, I love bad movies so much. I'm not even thinking about good movies.
I'm sorry, we are
Um,
pressuring you, Scoop, to
I
pick
know,
something that is
right?
not terrible.
Um, depending on the way you look at it, Tron,
Hmm.
the original Tron from 1987 from Disney, that's a great movie if you want to start getting into sci-fi. Like that's one of the first sci-fi movies you want to show your kids to see if they like sci-fi.
That's the Jeff Daniels one. Or, wait, Jeff Bridges one? Is that the Jeff
Uh,
Bridges one?
uh, yeah, from 1980, Disney's
Right.
1987 Tron.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I like that one. Great choice. I don't understand
and
why people
then
hate it. Mhm.
I like any of the Lord of the Ring movies. I will go with any one of them. Old, new, middle, any of them. I think having that storyline all put together is amazing. And then any of the Star Wars movies. I think I have to stick to the original, which technically would be one, two, and three for me, but I guess in normal fashion it's four, five, and six. So, but the Luke Skywalker original three is the ones that I would probably go with first, for sure.
So what is next for Scoop? Like what is next for you on the podcast, in your career? Anything that you think is interesting happening to you?
So, my next step actually is I have my first speaking engagement, live speaking engagement coming up. Thank you, in January in Florida at Podfest. So I'm going to be going to Podfest, and they have me speaking there at Podfest. So I'll be talking to about 200 so podcasters up on stage.
That is wonderful. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. So
Seriously.
that's one of my main things. One of my goals in life is to be a public speaker, be a motivational speaker. The Les Browns or the Zig Ziglars or anyone like that. That's who I want to be ultimately in the end. So
So in a way, your podcast, your career, your passion was building up to this moment. Yes.
exactly. I've been training myself from the very beginning to be able to do public speaking and being able to talk to wonderful people like you, but be up on a stage where I'm actually talking to more people live, where I can shake their hand and actually, take questions and things like that. So, yeah, that's where I'm headed.
Perfect. Perfect. Jesse, Scoop, thank you so much for being my guest. It was an awesome conversation and I learned a lot from you. I hope you had a great time.
I had a blast, and you can contact me anytime if you have questions about anything. I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, awesome.